Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of WTF Did I Just Blind Buy? And I'm going to be talking about Dark Rebel today, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. So, I actually bought this fragrance probably a year ago. A subscriber sent a request that I would review this video. And I will say I did go out and buy it. This is a fairly inexpensive fragrance, and I did purchase this one. The reason it took me so long, or part of the reason anyways, was that, honestly, the first time I sprayed this, I hated it. I didn't want to review it. It smelled like a synthetic mess. From that point, I let it sit for probably 3 or 4 months until I decided to try it again, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So I do find with a lot of fragrances, not just cheaper ones, even more expensive fragrances, letting them sit for a while after you spray them once or twice can let them age a little bit and do improve them in some ways. Another good example, I had Straight to Heaven, a decant, and it had to be fairly fresh or something. I sprayed it. Very poor performance. I like the smell, but very poor performance. Probably sat in that decant for 5 or 6 months, and it was at least airtight enough that it didn't all evaporate. Tried it again, and the performance was much, much better. So sometimes fragrances do actually improve with age. Now, I also heard that John Varvatos has declared bankruptcy. At least as far as I know, the fragrances are not just going to disappear, but they might become harder to get, and they may in fact all be discontinued. They may not. I really don't actually know the situation. I know some people were panicking, saying they were going to discontinue the whole line, but even after claiming bankruptcy, they released another fragrance. So I'm not entirely sure what the story is there. If you do love John Varvatos fragrances, I think you should probably just keep your ears open, see what you hear, because something might certainly happen. Anyways, now I'm going to get into the video. As I mentioned, first tried this one, absolutely hated it. I thought it was really bad, but I did let it sit for a while, and I did really enjoy this one the second time that I wore it. Now, this is often described as a bad boy fragrance, and I think in some ways it kind of is. It's leather, it's booze, it's tobacco, and it has that sort of masculine, rugged kind of a vibe. And that's one thing I do like about this. I find the leather a little bit more on the rugged edge. It's not a really sweet, easy leather like ombre leather. It's not as harsh or as strong as something like Godolphin or Tuscan leather. But this also doesn't have any sweetness to go with it like any of those fragrances, which is nice. Or it has limited sweetness, I should say. So I do actually like the leather in that respect. It does come across as a masculine leather for sure. Now there is, at least on the first spray, on the initial spray, I get quite a bit of booziness. I get a lot of booziness right on that initial opening, and I get a little bit of the leather, and it does have a little bit of sweetness to go with that booziness. It does smell really fantastic. It is a really nice rum note. Also, there is tobacco in this fragrance. The tobacco to me is a little bit, it's not quite like a pipe tobacco that you'd find in something like Insurrection 2 Wild or Pure Havana. But it's not like a cigarette tobacco either. It's somewhere in between those two. It is a nice tobacco, but it's not aromatic in the sense that, say, Dolce & Gabbana 1 is. It is just something that adds really nice touch to it. There is, I think, sugar in this too, and I do get a little bit of sweetness with this. Not a ton of sweetness, but there is enough sweetness to balance out, I think, the leather, the tobacco, the booziness, and it really gives it that extra dimension, and that does make it a little bit more mass appealing. Now, this is not, I think, a mass appealing fragrance. I think a lot of people will not like this one. A lot of women, anyways, if that's your concern. A lot of them probably won't like this one. A lot of them, on the other hand, might. But this is not as mass appealing as some other fragrances. It is a little bit more rough around the edges, and that is actually the point of this fragrance. It is supposed to be one of these rough, masculine fragrances. Now, in the dry down this one, the leather comes out a little bit more. That booziness definitely goes goes down. So I actually find the booziness is not that prominent for more than 5 or 10 minutes, and where it starts to then move into the background. It does maintain a little bit of booziness, but not too much. It probably becomes a more of a tobacco leather scent. And honestly, this one is really nice for the price if this is the kind of fragrance that you like. If you want something a little bit more dark, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more edgy, then this is a really nice one to try out. And I believe I got this for $25. You might be able to find it for less. I know it is a very inexpensive fragrance, and it is actually quite enjoyable. The performance, everybody knows, or a lot of people who are familiar with John Varvatos know that they don't perform that well. This is no real exception, so I get somewhere around the 4-hour mark with this one. But again, given that it's so inexpensive, I don't really mind reapplying this one. It's not a big deal. You know, for me, if something lasts 4 hours and it costs $25, I don't care about reapplying. The only time I really get a little bit more upset about that is if it's an expensive fragrance and you'd have to spray it 2 or 3 times to get you through the day, or if it won't last the whole work day or whatever. In those cases, I get a little bit more upset, but I always give a pass to a cheapie if it doesn't last that long. You can't really expect the world from something that costs $25. Now, in terms of projection, it actually has decent projection, and I would say that, you know, the projection is around 2 hours, which is about half the life of this fragrance. And in that case, it has nice sillage. It has, you know, about an arm's length of a nice scent cloud that does taper off with time. But it definitely has nice sillage. You know, as you're moving around, as you're walking, if you walk past someone, it's going to leave a little bit of a trail, a little bit of a hint for them to pick up and to smell you. So, you know, this is one of those fragrances that I think would be great for somebody who wants to have something a little bit darker, a little bit more mysterious, a little bit more with that edge. And to me, this is a great fall-winter fragrance as well. So, you know, occasions, I think that this could be a great, you know, fall-winter, really it could be a fall-winter signature scent. I could wear this personally anytime I go out. For me, I love putting on the leather jacket and wearing this one with it. Works really well. And, you know, I think predominantly, though, if you really want a situation where it's most perhaps suited, you know, a night out would be good for this one. A cool evening out, and, you know, especially if you're going out to a bar or something like that, those kinds of things, this is really good for. I don't know that I would wear this one or dress this one up. I mean, it does have some of the qualities of a more formal fragrance, but this one, it is a little bit more of a somewhat more casual fragrance because of the type of personality that it conveys. Again, that rough, rugged kind of a feel. But anyways, you know, at the end of the day, you can wear it when you want. I pretty much just wear fragrances when I feel like it, and this one to me is actually a good or fairly good daily wear. But it also fits in with the way that I feel a lot, I suppose. A little bit darker and more mysterious. And in that sense, it could be one of those fragrances that could be received well on a date. So it does have some nice, somewhat seductive accords with a little bit of boozy sweetness, tobacco and leather. But I do find, at least, that many women don't actually like leather fragrances as much as I know a lot of guys do. Now, of course, there's no blanket statements, but I feel like if you want something super safe for a date that you know she's going to like, this might not be it. Okay, this is more of a, it is a little bit more of a risk to wear this one. So, I mean, if you want a safe one, wear Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP. Of course, I mean, it's very unlikely that people won't at least find that pleasant because it is such an easy to wear fragrance. That being said, great fragrance. For $25, it's absolutely worth it, in my opinion. This is one I think I'm definitely going to be wearing more this fall. Pulled this one out today and really am enjoying it. So if you, the subscriber who recommended or requested this, if you're still watching, I finally did review it. I have put it on a few of my lists because it is a great fragrance, my top 10 lists. It's a good, you know, tobacco, boozy leather, and fall winter fragrance. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to cut the video right there. But first, I'm going to ask you, have you tried anything from John Varvatos? Which is your favorite fragrance from him? Mine, of course, is actually Dark Rebel, but I haven't tried the entire line. Leave a comment down below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.